Greetings, this is I.C.T. Connect with Odongo Jerry, and today we are going to be looking at item 1 of I.C.T. paper 1. It is very important to note that item 1, which is also in section A, is a compulsory question, and I'll make another video about the elements of construct and also to know the exact topics that this item is structured from. But today we are going to see how best we can approach this particular item. Let's go straight to it. And in case you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe and share with a friend so that we can all learn together. Now let's go straight up to the question. As you can see up here, section A, and there is only one item in section A, and it is compulsory. So here the instructions state, answer the item in this section. So this is item 1. So let's go straight to it and try to handle it the best way. The head teacher of BBR Secondary School is planning to organize an assembly to sensitize 200 new students about the school rules and regulations. The students will be required to assemble in the main hall. The head teacher would like to have a visual presentation of his speech and also give out a copy of the rules and regulations to each student. The head teacher's secretary, who is your brother, has been tasked to prepare whatever the head teacher will need to have a successful assembly, but has no idea of the appropriate ICTs that can be used and how they are used. Your brother has approached you for help. Now the task here is explain to your brother the ICTs he can use and how to use them to ensure that the head teacher has a successful assembly. Now this is supposed to be assembly, not assessment. So you can correct that. Yes, it's assembly, not assessment. Yeah, so here we have our item, and we are going to try to break the question down. Now, it is important for you as a student to read the question multiple times, probably 3 times, recommended 3 times, or 2, but more than 1 time for you to be able to understand this question. So let's go through it and get out the actual points that we need to break. Okay, so we are going to try to break down this question. I can push this up there. We are going to try to break down this question and understand exactly what we are required to lay down. So let's go through one more time together. The head teacher of BBR Secondary School is planning to organize an assembly to sensitize 200 new students about the school rules and regulations. Okay, the students will be required to assemble in the main hall. So we have here, let's break this down. We have here 200 students in our main hall. Now that should also guide us on what kind of equipment we need. Okay, that should be able to guide us on what kind of equipment we need, because we have 200 students in a main hall. The teacher or the head teacher would like to have a visual presentation. Now this is very key, a visual presentation of his speech. That is very crucial as we attempt this question. So we have a visual presentation and also give out a copy. So this is also key, a visual presentation and a copy. So this will also guide us on how best we can attempt this question of the rules and regulations. So your brother, who is the secretary, has no idea of the appropriate I.C.T tools that can be used and how they are used. So we also have here something key. I.C.Ts. What are I.C.Ts? We need to also understand them so that we can guide our brother well. So the task here is explain to your brother the I.C.Ts he can use and how to use them to ensure that the head teacher has a successful assembly. So we've known here there are a few key points here that I've really noted. One is we have 200 students in a main hall, and we need a visual presentation and also a copy. And possibly that copy can either be hard copy or soft copy. So we are going to see which copy is more appropriate in this situation. All right, so let's go straight to the response and see how best we can handle this. Yes, so right here we have our expected response. You can have different responses or something similar to this, but that's okay. But there are key areas that we need to agree on that the examiner is actually looking for. So let us go straight to our response and see how best we can handle this. Okay, so we're starting with our title right there, our title. So we have a title right up here for our response. So it is important for you to note down that you're attempting item 1, which I didn't here, but we shall talk about that in our next video. Let us proceed. So this is our title for our response. It states, preparing a visual presentation for a school assembly about school rules and regulations. So upon putting our title, we have to start with an introduction right here. So we have our introduction right here. And for this item, this is how we started our introduction. We started with defining I.C.Ts, because when you look at the question right here, yes, when you look at this item, there is this particular part. Your brother has no idea of the appropriate I.C.Ts that can be used. So he totally has no ideas of I.C.Ts even. He may not even know what I.C.Ts are. So let's go back to our response and see how best. So this is how we started our introduction. Your introduction can be different as long as it is focused and relevant to the item. So let's go ahead and read. I.C.Ts refer to electronic devices and I.C.T tools that are used to input data, store, process data into information, and give an output in form of either soft copy or hard copy. To prepare a good visual presentation for the learners about the school rules and regulations, and also ensure each learner has a hard copy of the printed documents, the following I.C.Ts will be used as explained. So this is our introduction. Your introduction can be different from this, but it has to be focused and relevant to the question or the item. Now this introduction carries 1 mark. So upon laying down your introduction, you get a mark, and this is 1 mark, 0, 1. So let's proceed. So now we are going to begin explaining these I.C.Ts, and now the trick here is in item 1, we have to be able to identify the tool or mention the tool, describe it, and also explain how it's going to be used in that particular situation to solve the problem. So this is how we've broken down our responses. So we have different stages of the preparation of the visual presentation. When you look at preparing the visual presentation, the first stage is creation of the electronic presentation. Now this is our first stage of the preparation, and we are going to see which tools do we need in order for us to create our visual presentation. Okay, right now, yes, we need a laptop or a desktop computer as our first tool, because of course this is a very important I.C.T tool. Call it an I.C.T gadget, probably the most important tool as far as I.C.T is concerned. So we are going to describe this. What kind of computer do we need? It can either be a laptop or a desktop. So, but we are going to see some of the specifications of that particular computer. So, a computer with sufficient storage memory, probably 500 GB or above, and random access memory of about 4 GB, and a good processing speed of about 1.8 gigahertz will be used to manage all the programs and other hardware to be used in the creation of the presentation. Okay, so this is our computer there. We've mentioned the tool. We've described our tool, and we've also stated how it's going to be used. So there we get a mark for mentioning the tool, mark for describing, and mark for explaining how it's going to be used. So this is how we should be answering our items. Like I said, you mention the tool, which is the computer. You give a brief description of that particular tool. Then you go ahead and state how it's going to be used in that particular process. So still, we are still under the creation of the electronic presentation stage. Which other tool do we need? We need an electronic presentation software or application. Electronic presentation applications such as Google Sheets or Microsoft PowerPoint installed on your computer system will be used to create presentation as follows. So we've mentioned the software, an electronic presentation software. I've also given the example, either Microsoft PowerPoint or Google Sheets. Okay, and we are now explaining how it's going to be used to create the visual presentation. So when you go down there, okay, so it will be used. It will be used as follows: create a slideshow, design slides with key points from the head teacher's speech, including rules, regulations, school values, and expectations. These should be in form of bullet points. So there you're getting marks. Use visuals, incorporate images, diagrams, or short video clips to make the presentation more engaging. I think we've studied these in that topic, electronic presentation, and we really know the characteristics of a good presentation. So we need to apply all this knowledge that we've been studying throughout the topic and apply it there. So, still proceeding, add effects, use transitions and animations to make the presentation dynamic, okay. Format and edit, maybe change background color, apply bullets on the points, use correct spellings, etc. Save. We also describe how to save exactly. Alright, so we are proceeding to the second stage. Now, this was the first stage where we had creation of the electronic presentation. And let us go now to the second stage, which is creating hard copy documents. Remember, in the item, we are required to create copies for each learner. Yes, we have here. Give out a copy of the rules and regulations to each student. So, in our response, we also have that. So we have decided that we are going to give these learners hard copy documents. So, of course, we are going to use a printer, and we have to have the printer there ready with us. So, printer specifications. So, we've mentioned a printer, and also now we are going to give a brief description of the kind of printer that we need. So, we have a printer with a high resolution and good printing speed will be necessary to give high quality print in time. So, we've mentioned the tool, and also we have described it. So now we are going to go ahead and describe a little bit how this printer is going to be used. Okay? So we come up here, connect a USB cable from the printer, from the printer's USB port to the USB port on the computer. Ensure that the printer is switched on and has enough papers and toner to handle the print job. So here we are talking about how the printer is going to be used. Open the document, click File, go to Print. Select Print. Consider copying using a photocopier to produce more copies to all learners. So after printing, you're going to use a photocopier. These days, the printers are 3-in-1. You can copy, scan, and also print. So after printing, you'll go ahead and photocopy and make copies for all learners. So as far as we've gone, we've managed to mention how many tools. We've mentioned a computer. We've mentioned the software, which is Microsoft PowerPoint or Google Sheets. We've mentioned a printer now. We've also mentioned a photocopier. Okay, so let us proceed to our next stage, which is visual display of the presentation. Now, we have created the presentation. We've printed a hard copy and given to learners. Now, we want to create a visual display of these school rules and regulations so that everyone is able to see them. Remember, we have 200 learners according to the response. It's very important for us to keep referring to the question. So when you go to the question right here, you can see that we have 200 learners, 200 students in the main hall. Therefore, we need a very large visual presentation so that it is visible to every learner. So let's go back to our response. Okay, so right here, this stage, our third stage is visual display of the presentation. What tools do we need? We need a projector and screen. These will ensure that the presentation is displayed. So how are they going to do that? Connect the projector to a power source and use a HDMI cable or a VGA to connect it to the computer through the ports. These cables ensure video signals are transmitted from the computer to the projector and give out a visual output. So we are describing how these are going to be used. Place the projection screen in a visible area for all learners. Adjust settings. Adjust the projector's focus and brightness to optimize visibility for all learners. So we've mentioned the tool. We've also mentioned what it will be used for, describing it a little bit. Then also how it's going to be used, describing how it's going to be used. So we go to our next stage, which is the public address system. Remember, we have 200 learners in a main hall. Therefore, it is impossible for someone to use just natural vocal to communicate to these learners. Remember, our visual presentation has to be accompanied with a speech. Okay? A visual presentation must be accompanied with a speech. Therefore, for the head teacher to be able to give a clear speech, he will need a public address system. So, under the public address system, we have I.C.T tools like the microphone. This will be used to capture the headmaster's voice clearly as he makes the speech about the school rules and regulations. So we've mentioned that. We've mentioned the tool. Oh, we have mentioned the tool. I can't mention the tool right there. And also described how it's going to be used. So you have the amplifier. You may describe this in any way, as long as you're describing it. We have the amplifier. And you have loudspeakers. These will be used to output clear sounds for the whole audience to listen to carefully. See? So, we have all the tools there. And now, we have, upon mentioning all the tools and describing them, we have to conclude. It is very important for us to conclude, and the conclusion also carries 1 mark. So, let's go to the conclusion. With a combination of a computer system installed with Microsoft PowerPoint, a projector and a screen, a public address system and a printer, the headmaster will be able to deliver a good visual presentation and also hand all teachers, all students, a hard copy of the schools and regulations. So we have our conclusion, which carries 1 mark also. Yes. Now, it is also important to know that this question or this item is marked out of 11 points, 11 marks. So where do these 11 marks come from? So we've seen that an introduction carries 1 mark and a conclusion also carries 1 mark. So those are 8 marks those are 2 marks out of 11. So where are the 9 points? Where are the 9 marks? So let's see how to score these. Now, we have mentioned a number of tools here, and in order, the maximum marks for identifying the tools and describing them is 4. Therefore, if you mention 5 and above I.C.T tools, you earn 4 marks. That is if you mention and you describe them. Okay? That is, the maximum points is 4. If you mention 4, if you mention 4 gadgets or I.C.Ts, you get 3 marks. If you mention 2, you get 2 marks. If you mention 1, you get 1 mark. If you mention 0, you get 0 marks. So we've mentioned, let us see how many ICT tools we have mentioned so that and described so that we can get our points. So we have here the laptop and computer, and it described it. So that is 1. Let's go here. The presentation software and described it. That is 2. We've also mentioned the printer, 3. We've mentioned the photocopier, 4. We've mentioned the projector and its screen, 5. We've mentioned the microphone, 6. We've mentioned the loudspeaker, 7. So we've mentioned 7 ICT tools. Therefore, we qualify to get the highest, the maximum marks, which are 0, 4. Okay. So let's go ahead and also see, have we explained exactly how these tools are used? Yes, we have explained at least how all these tools are going to be used to create a presentation. All these 7 tools have been explained. So we also get the maximum points, which are 4. Yes, so here we have a total of 8 points plus the introduction mark and the conclusion mark. That makes it 10. 10 out of 11. Now, where does the other mark come from? We have marks for the format of the document. Format of the document, which is 0, 1. So let us add our points and see. We have 1, 5, 9, 10 for the format, and 11 for the conclusion. So we have 11 out of 11. Yes. So that is how that question is attempted, or that item is attempted, and that is how you can be able to earn your marks. Now, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and share this document to all other learners so that we are able to understand how best we can attempt these questions and how we can even earn marks. In case you have any question or any query or any suggestion about this video, please go to the comment section and comment there. God bless you all. I wish you success.